Well, here we are again with the tactical twins. You're speaking to Rian from Fortis here in Pretoria. Gerrit and Pierre. We were talking about belts. We're on the subject of EDC still. Belts and weapon-mounted lights. I want to now move on for this video to handheld torches and mag pouches. You guys specifically mentioned mag pouches. So I think let's start with mag pouches then. Let's talk mag pouches. Why are you guys saying it's an important part of your kit?
I think it's the golden rule is 2 is 1, 1 is none. So especially when we talk EDC, you have to have at least 2 mags on you. I think these days, if you get into a type of a self-defense situation, there's not always going to be one person that's an attacker. It's going to be more than one.
This country, no.
So you need to have at least one more spare mag or one more mag on you. And that's why mag pouches should be part of your normal EDC carry.
I think, sorry, I think what Pierre says there, I mean, just go read the newspaper in South Africa. You know, person attacked, lady attacked by multiple assailants, whatever. South Africa is not a one-on-one country. Unfortunately, when you are attacked, it's not one person. I mean, when I want to go into CIT statistics, because there you should never get involved in the first place. But just in your own home or, you know, in the street or whatever, it's never one assailant. It's multiple. At least 2 to 3, maybe 4, even attackers. So,
well, it makes sense because, you know, that's what we face here in South Africa. And I think that old myth about just shoot him in the leg, you know, so if you need more than 6 rounds, you're wasting that. So I think that's been well and truly busted, specifically with what we face here on a regular basis. I think it just makes sense to rather have extra ammo on you if you don't need it. Great.
I think it's there's a saying that says the day that you need a parachute and you don't have it, you're going to never need it again. And this almost for me comes to the same situation.
The same thing. Yeah.
The day you need a spare magazine and you don't have it, you're probably not going to need it again.
Well, that's the sad reality.
Unfortunately,
I mean, it is as serious as that. You know, so let's talk about the kit itself. Sturdy mag pouches. What are problems? What are typical problems that you guys have picked up with, and what would you recommend in terms of better quality kit?
Rian, there's a couple of options that people can look at when it comes to mag pouches. I prefer proper Kydex mag pouches. And you can either carry it inside the waistband or outside the waistband, depending on what your how can I say, what your clothing allows or your environment allows. If you can carry inside or outside, like I said, my preference is Kydex, just in the sense that I can use it both on the range as well as EDC. And I know that I won't have any issues with a mag dropping or falling out, or if it becomes a bit of a grappling situation, is that you don't want to start losing equipment as you run, or if you need to run, that kind of stuff. Other options as well as a bit of a material. It's got a hard inner that actually grabs onto the onto the magazine itself. It's got ratchets at the back, so you can either, depending on the size belt, you can either go and shorten or lengthen it to fit any size of belt as well.
There's various options regarding a magazine holster or a magazine pouch, as we call it, that is available on the market. I mean, in the range you can get for 100 Rand to 700 Rand per pouch almost, I want to say. I think what you need to look for is one that doesn't lose your mag pouches when you run or maneuver. That is quite critical.
So one that doesn't lose your magazines.
Yes. That doesn't lose your magazines. And then the second one is one that is comfortable, because you get ones that is very loose. You lose your magazines. And the second one that is so tight, you actually struggle to get your magazine out in a situation, which is then also then obviously semi-useless then.
Yeah, then it depends also on the firearm type and that, because sometimes the guys build these mag pouches specifically only for one type of firearm. So, for example, like only a CZ or only a Glock, and that sometimes is a bit restrictive. That's something you need to consider as well. It's not about just buying a mag pouch and thinking, oh, cool, I've got a mag that's a double stack versus a single stack. Oh, but the single stack will never fit in this, or it's going to be too loose. And then I try and jippo my mag carrier to accommodate my. No, if it's designed for something specific, use it for what it's designed.
Well, yeah, I mean the magazines differ for the different firearms. So.
Correct, yeah.
But you'll be amazed.
Yeah, I've seen stuff where people try to jippo equipment to make it work for them because they don't want to spend more money buying a proper kit.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a problem, because if you get proper kit, it's going to cost you more. You've already spent money on a gun. You have to adapt your clothing style a little bit to be able to conceal carry, a belt, mag pouches, etc., etc. So you can really go overboard with this, and it can really end up costing you a massive amount of money. And I think everybody works within their budget, but it is also sensible, because this is something that can save your life. It's sensible if you work in your budget. Most people do, but that you do it wise.
Yeah. Now, the one thing it's actually quite cool is this magnetic clip. So it actually goes in on the inside of your pocket, and your mag attaches to this. And all it prevents is that you don't have your mag that you just drop in your pocket. It actually sits there so that if you need to grab it, you can actually just go and pull it out like this. So, I mean, it's inexpensive, but it's got such a cool purpose compared to, oh, no, I've got an extra mag. It's inside my jean pocket. But Mr. Attacker, please just hold on. Let me just quickly, between my keys and all the other stuff that I've got in my pocket, I've got a mag as well that I would like to just take out for this fight. Please give me a second.
Yeah, I mean, they're nice guys. They probably will wait for you.
All three of them.
Yeah. Okay. So mag pouches, a definite value add.
Correct.
Now, it's difficult. I mean, if you look at, it's also about the environment. I mean, some of us has got cushy office jobs that you cannot wear a
double mag
pouch Kydex that is hard, easy. I mean, half a second and I've got it out. I can do a mag change. The problem is it's not practical. There you go for these inside the waistband or inside the pocket clip that you can get hold of your magazine quite quickly without digging. Because I mean, I've seen videos where the guy, as soon as you put your hands in pants, they just grab your arm, you're stuck. You can't reach it. Now you don't put your hand in your pocket actually to search for it, because you simply take your two fingers and you pull out your magazine. So it's these practical situations, and
but test your kit as well. It doesn't help you've got an extra mag in a mag pouch, but you never done mag changes under duress. You need to go and practice that type of scenarios as well, because otherwise, just leave that extra mag.
Yeah. It's good to have a good mag pouch, but
so again, we come back to
training.
Exactly.
Practical.
And again, it always comes back to that. I mean, probably to the point of being quite boring, but the fact is that the training does make a difference. And also, when you are of purchasing, don't just buy the first thing. Do your research. Make sure that you get something that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, definitely. And I think
shall we move on to torches?
Yes, we can. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of my life.
I cut you off there. I didn't realize you were still trying to say something. You're welcome to say.
No, it's fine that Jan-Pierre does it all the time.
Is it? Okay. Okay, so right on the subject, talking about handheld torches. Look, living in South Africa with our history of power cuts, torch, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. For me, it's non-negotiable. You have to have something that makes light, and you can't always count on the flashlight in your mobile phone. You might need the phone for urgent calls. For me, it makes sense to have something. Just do you guys stock? What's your go-to?
I prefer something like this. It's actually quite straightforward. Proper lumens. It's got a switch on the back. It's got a little pocket clip, so you can actually put it in your pocket or on a vest or something like that. It's got serrated edge on the front if you need to use it for a bit of a self-defense type of weapon. But yeah, for us, especially when it comes to shooting and that kind of stuff, it just makes it easier if you've got your switch on the back. I'm not saying you should buy one that's only got a switch on the back, but what we've seen is that if you do have the firearm, that you can still have your supporting hand on the firearm, and you can either switch it on with this thumb or this thumb, and therefore it makes it that you've got a little bit more support hand on your firearm, makes it a little bit more stable when you need to shoot. So again, coming back to the weapon-mounted light type of scenarios, that it's nice having a weapon-mounted light, but you can't pull your firearm to go and check something in the garden. If you hear something, you need a additional flashlight for that type of scenarios. Yeah.
Okay. And lumen-wise, are you in the more lumens is better camp, or
no?
What do you?
No,
how do you
I think that whole debate about lumens versus all the difference, and for me, something like this, especially also when you use it in house or in buildings and that kind of stuff, the more lumens is not going to make any difference in a hallway, unless that hallway is 300 meters long.
Just make you blind.
Yeah, for me it is that it should have enough lumens that you can see. Call it 50 meters, 40 meters, that type of scenario. More than that, then it becomes a debate if it's actually needed or not. And what we've seen a lot of the times when you're doing house clearings and those type of scenarios is that guys use the flashlight, but then they blind themselves. If you take a scenario 3 o'clock in the morning, you have to get out of your bed. You don't want this massive bright flashlight where you can announce to everybody, okay guys, I have arrived, I am moving towards you, and you can now see me coming towards you guys with my bright flashlight. A flashlight should purely be used switching it on, firing, switching off, unless you are investigating something in that scenario where I want to see. But then you can also see the more lumens and that kind of stuff. It becomes debatable.
Sure. It's the purpose again. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, I've used my one flashlight, but this one makes a beam, and it's one of those, much more lumens. But I use that with so much success in the Kruger National Park when I camp with my tent at night through the fence.
You want to see 400 meters.
Sightings. Yes. It worked an absolute charm. I'll tell you what. Guys were sitting there with their huge spotlights, and I just sat there with a little thing like this, and it was probably more effective than theirs. So, yes, Depends on what
So
you
you'll
want to do with
see
it.
this is exactly the scenario that you're talking about. This is a EDC flashlight. This is going to the Kruger. It's exactly the
Yes.
same size, same battery, everything. But this one can reach up to 500 meters. It's got a straight beam.
Okay.
This one actually disperses your light a little bit. So you want to see, it's got a focus point with dispersion around it. So you can actually see a little bit better around what's happening at where you are looking. Where this one has got a straight beam, I want to look 300 meters only on that spot itself. So yeah, again, what do you want to use it? What's the purpose of it?
And it's pretty amazing what they do nowadays with the LED technology and the little, I call it a cup where the LED is mounted in that reflects the light. That technology is like way out there. It's pretty amazing what they do with these things. But yes, you don't want that flashlight that can shine out to 500 meters necessarily. You don't necessarily want to light that up in your bedroom at 3 in the morning because your eyes are gonna know all about it.
You're going to blind yourself with that 5 seconds. That 5 seconds is what you actually need for yourself.
Yeah, I think something that people need to check also on flashlights, especially when you've got a switch on the back, is that this one works nice in the sense that you need to switch it on, and then it's got this button on the side where you would switch the mode, meaning high beam, low beam, etc. And then it leaves it on that setting. So each time you can switch on or switch off, it stays on that setting unless you go and change the setting. Because a lot of the times we've seen it on the range. It starts looking like a disco because this guy can't figure out his settings on this one switch only. You don't want your switch, on and off switch, to be your mode setting as well. Because then you see a strobe light, then you see 100 lumens, and then you see suddenly a 9,000 lumens type of scenario. And that just creates confusion even for yourself as a flashlight user.
So simple is better.
Yeah.
What less is more.
Less is more.
Less is more. Yes. For everyday carry, the size of that specific one torch that you showed there, that's perfect to fit in a jacket pocket, a pants pocket, if you must.
No, I mean, Rian,
a shirt pocket, if you have to.
It's the same scenario. So, for example, you can see this one here, this flashlight compared to that flashlight. So a lot of the times, guys also carry this one. And then in field operations, they want to use this one. But I mean, again, it's the same scenario. It's so bright that everybody half a kilometer away even a kilometer away can see you. You need something like this. I mean, and this is fine. It's a length. It's a length of my finger. But it's the same scenario. You can use that in and around your house. You don't need this massive flashlight or this massive lumens to go and light up. You want something where you just want to see your surroundings itself.
And if it rains or I fall in the swimming pool, will it affect my flashlight specifically?
Definitely. Definitely.
Seeing as how you guys stop these Sperra flashlights, will it affect?
Yeah, no, it needs to be waterproof. All the Sperra flashlights
and these
are
ones,
waterproof. Also pricing. Yeah, so they're waterproof and pricing as well. Flashlights on our range is anything from like 900 up to like 1,005 max. Anything more than that, then it becomes debatable. Is it really worth it or not?
Okay.
I think you get various
options. And the depth that they are water resistant to waterproof.
Yes, Rian, talking on the correction, but probably up to like 10
meters. I just asked what. That's not bad. But even if it's 2 meters, I mean, if it just falls in the pool, you want to be able to clean it, and it must still work. Yes, it's not a diving light.
Correct.
Okay. And obviously, I mean, you may have to use it in the rain. and you don't want the flashlight to fizzle and die on you. So
we've tested them
again,
in the rain multiple times.
I'm a bit loath when it comes to flashlights to say, yeah, because you get flashlights for pretty decent prices. I know the Sparrows range offers some very decent prices for a really, really good flashlight. But it's a case of decide what you want to use it for, and then do some homework on that, and spend your money wisely. But I think it's worthwhile. I mean, I've sat in a Brooklyn Mall years ago, and halfway through the movie, it was a Spider-Man movie. I remember that now. Everything just went pitch black, and it's hard to describe how dark it becomes in a movie theater. I mean, it's like a politician's soul. It's literally that dark, and everybody they were all grabbing the lights on their phones, and I just got my little, and that was only about a 900 lumen or 700 lumen flashlight. I just took that out, and basically everybody could walk out and they saw what they were doing. It's a little bit better than just your first flashlight.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, guys, thank you. I appreciate. I'm glad we covered the torches. I have a serious affinity for torches. If it was up to me, I would have had 100 of them. I have to stop myself. It's like knives. But I do consider a good torch to be a value at big time.
Definitely.
Irrespective of what you want to do. Yes. And there's a torch for every scenario nowadays. So you've got no excuse. Guys, okay. If you've got nothing further to add on that point, I think that we can end with that. Once again, thank you for your time, and to the viewers, if you find value in these videos, please remember to click that like and subscribe button. Help us grow the channel so we can reach more and more people. Thank you for that, and thank you for your support, and thank you for your time. Have a good evening further.
Thanks, Leon.